Live from the Carl Chevrolet Studios in West Des Moines, this is Iowa Live.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. You know, it's always a fun time to go to the mailbox and find the new issue of the Iowa History Journal. And that's what happened just a couple of days ago. Michael Swanger, thank you for being here, sir.
Great to see you again, Lou.
Jam-packed, full of great stuff.
It is. Thank you. You know, our cover story, leading off just with that alone, the cover is a piece of history because those who are familiar with the work of Dr. James Van Allen may recall that this image was on the cover of Time magazine in 1959
Oh,
when
really?
they named him
This one
their
here?
Man of the Year.
Look
Yes.
at that.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
The father of space science. And, you know, we could talk all day about his incredible legacy, but in a nutshell, you know, he was born on a farm outside of Mount Pleasant and went to Iowa Wesleyan College and got his master's degree in physics at the University of Iowa and was just instrumental in terms of everything that our country has done in terms of space exploration. He discovered radiation belts that are named after him, the Van Allen radiation belts.
Right.
And he discovered those by developing something they called a raccoon, which was a jet that was lifted by a hot air balloon into the atmosphere, and then once it detached, it released, and it allowed them to explore space deeper. And then he was also a longtime professor at the University of Iowa and instrumental there in just teaching generations of scientists about space.
Yeah, look at him in the lab here, which is some of the things he was working on. And this is really a guy who is, he just looks like your average, everyday person who was just incredibly smart.
Oh, exactly, yeah. And all of his students just rave about what a great professor he was and a sense of humor that he had. And so, yeah, it's one of those stories that we've been wanting to get to for quite some time, and we were proud to present it. Timothy Walsh did a wonderful job of writing it.
Yeah, and roots right back here in the state of Iowa, which is what we love. And speaking of love, I think love is not an understated term when it comes to Betty Lou Varnum. No,
not at all, Lou. And like so many generations of Central Iowans, from baby boomers to millennials, their day wasn't complete unless they were tuning into WOI TV to see Betty Lou in the House with the Magic Window. And I'm one of those as well. As a child of the 70s, everything from Katrina and Gregory to the cartoons. To the craft projects, to the lessons that she taught. And what was so wonderful about her, as you know, Lou, not only was the host of the longest running children's program in the history of our nation, but she just talked to children like real people.
And that was the key.
And that was the key.
Before anybody really talked to kids like people, she was doing it and always had.
And always had just such a warm embrace, you know, in inviting the viewer and especially kids to take on different subjects. You know, later on in her career, she also hosted serious talk shows like Status 6, Dimension 5, which would take on the topics of the day at 10:30. But of course, she was most remembered for her daytime show, The House of the Magic Window. Yeah,
and the person that put the article together, a good friend of ours, John Busby, of course, he had some information about here. For example, I did not realize Betty Lou was an orphan.
I didn't either.
Yeah,
and he interviewed a couple of her children to really get some great details on the family aspect. And of course, her husband, Red, I didn't know either, was the one who made the puppets for the show because there was a limited budget. They didn't have a budget for that. So she turned to her husband, and he not only made the puppets, but was a voice for some of them.
How
Red Varnum.
And the history behind The House with the Magic Window, the longest running kids show in television history here in the U.S., based right here from WOI TV, Local 5.
1954 to 1994. There'll never be another show like it.
No question about it. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Truly beloved.
But I tell you what, when you grab one of the copies of these magazines, you are just amazed by what you will learn, and now there are more places to find it, right?
There are. We're proud to announce that we're now sold at every Barnes & Noble in Iowa, as well as Beaverdale Books locally. We're at most of the Hy-Vee stores, and now we're also at most of the Fairway stores for the first time, and most of the Walmart stores for the first time.
Wow.
So we're very excited about this new endeavor in terms of our distribution. We're hoping people will pick us up on the newsstand. Look for us in those pockets in the checkout aisles or on their newsstands.
Yeah, I like seeing Mills Fleet Farm on there too. That's a great addition.
It certainly is. And of course, you know, if you subscribe, you save a little more than you'd pay for the newsstand. But we're really encouraging folks to get out and pick us up.
And how do people subscribe to it? What's your website?
They can visit iowahistoryjournal.com.
All right, and get a copy of this, folks. You are going to be so glad. If you are a House with the Magic Window fan, you definitely want to get a copy of the magazine. Michael Swanger, thank you so much for your time.
Lou.
Appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care of yourself, folks. Try to stay cool, and we will see you back here tomorrow on Iowa Live.